Cameron.
I got it.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the show. I'm Russ Fritz.
And I'm Nathan Johns.
Join us for the ride because right now we start.
Switching grooves. What's up,
What is up,
Russ?
Nathan?
Oh, not a whole lot. We're currently in our off season with NASCAR. Finally took long enough to get through the shenanigans.
Finally.
I'm still salty over the whole, fact that Martinsville had to end the way it did. I'm still salty, even though we're already past the championship. I'm not happy about it.
I don't think a lot of people are.
Yeah, it's pretty sad.
It's been a big talking point the last week, man. Uh,
I mean, I've been trying to keep my mouth shut on a lot of it, but there's a lot of different suggested playoff formats for next year. I mean, all the fans out there have been giving their opinions. Well, should I say, all the bots have been giving their opinions on what the
all the
format should be.
all
So
the
it's
experts.
yeah, all the people who actually know, what they want out of the sport have given their 2 cents. The question is the actual, you know, sport of NASCAR actually going to listen to our input? Probably not.
Yeah, you never
I have
know.
heard a few different suggestions that I find very interesting, and there are some that I actually didn't think I'd like, but when they put them into perspective, it makes more sense. So, what do you got dirt wise? Do you have anything dirt this week at all?
What
Or are
do
we
I
rolling
have
right into
dirt?
NASCAR?
I got plenty of dirt stuff.
All right, well, let's hear them.
Not a whole lot, but I got some dirt for us.
All right, let's see
So
what you got.
let's see what I got. All right. Let me give me a second here. All right. So the World Finals, we had our World Finals at Charlotte, the dirt track at Charlotte. It actually had a great variety of teams and drivers, and uh, the car counts were in the mid 40s the whole weekend. So it was actually pretty good. Obviously, David Gravel uh, came out on top, and going into the finals, he had a huge lead, anyways, and all he did was win a race, finished fourth, and then finished second, and he secured the title on the first night. So, uh, what was it with that win? He brought home his first title in the World of Outlaws, and he actually had a really strong season. I mean, if you were watching any of it over the years or over the season, he ended up with 15 wins. So that's pretty good on his part this year. You don't see that as often as you used to. But
Now, was there
uh,
some sort of shenanigans in other races? I heard there was some sort of victory lane stare down or something, or did I just read into that too much?
I didn't follow the late model and modified part of the World Finals. I strictly
Okay,
stuck with the
I
sprint
just
cars.
wasn't sure if there was anything else.
But so 15 wins he ends the season with,
That's
and
crazy.
that's his highest since 2017 and the most in an outlaw season since 2021. So
Not too
pretty
long
good,
ago, but still impressive.
pretty good on his part. But I know a lot of people have mixed feelings about it, but very deserving with the season that he put on. So I'm not gonna say a whole lot about it, man. I'm not gonna say nothing bad about it. I mean, if you like the guy, you do. If you don't, you don't. It's just the way it works in this sport.
That's fair.
Carson Macedo, he actually finished the season off strong, but struggled early on, especially at Volusia, and he faced a few little hiccups along the way. But all in all, man, he gave Gravel a run for his money, and he did a pretty good job. So happy to see that out of Carson. He definitely made some huge progress this year, and he's actually proven. Uh, to the rest of us and himself that he's actually on his own pathway to becoming a champion in the Outlaws too. So I look forward to seeing that. One of these days, I've watched Carson a lot. I've I like Carson. I like gravel, and it's going to be fun. But Macedo is now 18th on the all-time win list for the World of Outlaws with 47 wins. And he actually did that in just 6 full-time seasons. So pretty
That's
impressive.
pretty impressive, yeah.
And there's no doubt in my mind that this guy could easily be considered one of the top sprint car drivers to ever come into the World of Outlaws and even become a future Hall of Fame driver. So, hey, more power to the guy. Keep up the great work, man. And I'll tell you what, if these two, when it comes to Macedo and gravel, I'll tell you, if these two guys become the next major rivalry in the World of Outlaws in sprint car racing, it's gonna be fun to watch, man. I'm actually kind of excited for it. It'll be like Steve Kinser or Sammy Swindell all over again, and Jack Howdenshield and all those guys. I wish we could have more than just the two of them up there battling. I mean, you do have Donnie Schatz and Buddy Colfoy now throwing his hat in the mix, but I'm gonna tell you, it's nothing like it used to be in the old days, and I miss that.
Yeah.
So, oh man, what else was there? I'm trying to think. Oh, Justin Peck. That's right. Justin Peck had it was his first time out in the Rudine racing car this weekend, and he actually had a really good finish. He finished on the podium 2 out of 3 nights. I don't remember exactly which nights he finished which. So, but I tell you what, 2 out of 3 nights for your first weekend in the car, pretty damn good. So that's actually kind of hinting at what's going to come with that team in 2025. I mean, I tell you what, they're going to be a pretty good team next year, and I'm glad to see that for Justin stepping back.
Hopefully they have a good season next year.
I think he will. I mean, Justin's a very seasoned driver, but he's still young and he's got a lot to offer. So I don't think we're going to be disappointed at all next year with that team.
Yeah.
Tyler Courtney actually capped off the weekend with a win from the pole on Saturday, and he took home 25 grand. So congratulations to him, and be able to hang on to that from start to finish.
That's pretty good.
And the second half of their season actually kind of started off kind of crappy for them and sucked. I mean, what did we see over there at Lernerville? Like, guys having their engines blow, and Courtney's awesome. I love Sunshine, but it just wasn't his year, man. I guess to put it nicely.
Last few years, I've noticed he's really struggled at Lernerville. What was it? Not this past season, but the year prior, him and who else got sucked together on the front stretch. I feel like Lernerville's been his kryptonite, so it was good to see him, do well. But every time he comes to Lernerville, he does, he's performing great, and something happens that costs him the race. I think Rico won, just recently because of a Corey Day misfortune. It's been crazy.
I tell you, the second half of Sunshine's season didn't go as planned, but
it was bad.
The victory this weekend, especially at World Finals, along with the money, that should give them a nice boost as they go into their off season and look forward to next season. So I hope that brings up their morale a little bit to end the year, and they could push forward and have a good season next year.
Oh yeah.
So, what do we got? I got some silly season stuff.
Ooh, silliness.
Yeah, CJB has finally revealed that Brenham Crouch will actually take the wheel of the number five car for the 2025 season. So, what did they spent? Who was it? Oh, Spencer Bayston was in that car one of the last few seasons, and I'm not sure what went wrong there, but it actually became close. Close to the end of the year, it was pretty evident that Bayston wasn't going to be with the team next year. And I saw that kind of coming, and it sucks because Bayston's actually a really good driver. But hey, that's the name of the game in this business. Is tough, man. And Justin Peck was actually the front runner to take over that car. And being, such a promising young talent, I'll say, that Justin Peck is, he was capable of leading that team for years. And I think they really lost out when they passed up on Justin Peck there. But Barry Jackson was actually planning to step back from full-time travel as the crew chief of that car. So they intended to bring in Ty Wolfgang from Casey Kane Racing for next year and pair Justin with him. And I'm not completely sure what happened there, but it seems like sponsorship and funding is what kind of started going wrong. And that actually made everything uncertain over everything. Now, up until Texas, the high limit finale at Texas, apparently Justin Peck still thought he had that ride. And during that weekend, rumors started floating around that CJB was actually considering a different person. So, ultimately, in the end, it actually became Brenham Crouch who took that ride, and he just came off of his rookie season, his first full-time season on a national tour, and only finished 16th with the Outlaws, with High Limit. And it's kind of to be expected out of a young driver, just starting out, only got a couple years under his belt, and he won an IRA championship or something like that. But I don't really follow IRA, so I don't know. But he's still starting out, still young, still fresh. So, but that's going to be the new driver of that car. So, but unfortunately, they didn't actually get to pick up Ty Wolfgang either, because as the whole deal was kind of shifting away from Justin Peck, who actually joined the Rudine team in the meantime because of what he was hearing. Wolfgang actually changed his mind too, so he decided not to go with CJB, and you can't really blame the guy, because crew members and actually crew chiefs that are eager to win, and the transition from a driver like Justin Peck to a developing driver like Brenham Crouch kind of alters his dynamic a little bit. So I kind of understand where he's coming from and why he decided not to go. And also, Eric Prutzman at KKR, Casey Kane Racing, actually stepped away from his crew chief role for Brad Sweet, and obviously Wolfgang found a familiar opportunity to stay home and opted out of going with CJB. So that's kind of the other thing that did that in. I don't know the reasoning with Prutzman leaving his seat for crew chief, but in the end, that's just how it works. But with Wolfgang opting out, what was it? There were, you must say, whispers of an imminent announcement regarding Crouch circulated, but for weeks, like 3 weeks, it was nothing but silence. We didn't hear anything, so nobody knew what was going on. So because of that, everybody thought the deal was just done, like it wasn't going to happen. So, I mean, reports actually suggested that CJB was struggling to recruit crew members, and they might not even make the deal with Crouch. So that's where all that came from. It actually led to, now, and these are all rumors, but supposedly it led to chats talking with potential free agents like Parker Price Miller, Zeb Wise, and Corey Elias. But we don't know how true that actually is, and CJB has not actually came out and said anything about that. So those are all just rumors. But either way, it's going to be Crouch. But Wednesday is when the news broke out that Crouch would be joining the team. And unfortunately, though, we don't actually have any type of schedule or a crew roster given to us yet or announced yet. But Paul McMahon has been confirmed to actually come in with the team and be Crouch's mentor. So Paul McMahon retired a few years ago, and now he's going to be helping out Brendan Crouch there with CJB. So that's kind of cool. I remember watching Paul race a lot. To be able to bring a seasoned guy in like that, I mean, a complete veteran, and he'll point the kid in the right direction.
Yep.
But choosing Crouch over Peck, it may not have offered a performance advantage, but it did certainly actually present like a business opportunity for the team. Crouch comes with a lot of sponsorship and money, so I mean, ultimately that was probably the reason that they went with him over Peck. I mean, it is what it is. But there was actually a lot of buzz around Crouch's new deal and a significant focus on the financial implications. So that's what leads you to do that. And Crouch is actually contributing more to CJB than just his presence. And this actually has brought up a classic case of buying your ride. And a lot of people are pissed about it.
That sounds so familiar. I wonder where I've seen that kind of strategy before.
Ride buying has been a practice in motorsports for years and years, decades.
It's pretty sad that it's come to that, but yeah, you're not wrong.
With the scarcity of sponsors and funding these days,
Yeah,
it is, I mean, it's a benefit to you as a driver to have a personal sponsor rather than relying on the team to provide you with those sponsors.
yes.
But there's been a huge outcry against it. And people act like they just now figured out that this is how racing operates.
Yeah.
Like it's been this way for a long time. I just don't get it. I mean, who did we see? Oh, the recent NASCAR champion. So he got his right.
Yep.
But there are actually numerous racing series that just thrive on the concept of drivers purchasing their seat. I mean, there are entire series that's how they stay going. That's how they keep alive. So, well, I mean,
yep.
Like I just said, given the high cost of racing and scarcity of sponsors, I mean, CJB was actually pretty wise to make the decision to go with Crouch's deal, and it actually ensures the survival of the team and allows the crew members to actually keep their jobs, at least for next season. and we're not sure how long this deal's going to be, but at least for next season, the team's going to be here. I'd rather see that than a team just disappear. So it sucks to see teams disappear like that, especially good teams. Crouch is not really like a dominant force on the racetrack, but he's certainly not really like the least skilled driver in the field. So, I mean, there's a lot of potential for Brenham to develop into a real good competitor. So I think we just got to give him that chance, you know. But regardless of all the ride buying and debating, it's actually a fact that, and you can't deny this, but it's a fact that we all know that the exceptionally talented drivers like your David Gravel, your Brad Sweets, and all those guys, they're going to have the best opportunities to be put in the best cars. So the guys that are a little bit lower on talent or still developing their talent, they have to do what they have to do to get in a decent car.
Yep.
I mean, you can't really blame them.
Nope.
And that's just my opinion. Others may not agree with that, but that's fine. That's what this show is all about. But yeah, when it comes to lower level guys like that are still developing, I mean, you got lower level guys that'll never be anything. And I hate to say that, but that's just the honest truth. But for the guys that are still developing coming up, the financial backing is crucial to have, and to be able to bring that with you is going to play in your favor big time. So, and like I said, some drivers just actually require a little bit more time to hone in their skills and become the force on the racetrack that they need to be.
Yep.
I mean, engines and tires and fuel and wings and everything else. I mean, none of this stuff is going to buy itself. So
yeah, that's understand. I mean, you need to have the money to be able to pay the bills. So,
and so many people just have a huge struggle internally to actually grasp on the reality of that.
Yeah.
And sometimes I just don't understand that. I mean, I as much as I don't like it, I also equally don't hate it, because we need that.
Yeah.
We don't have that. We don't have as many teams available. Teams are not going to be able to be funded, and we're going to see them all just start falling off. And that's going to kill our sport. So we need this. So I'm on the fence about it, and I'll stay 50-50 about it. I mean, it's a good thing. It has its pros, and it's a bad thing. It has its cons. But all in all, motorsports needs it, especially today. It's not like it was 30 years ago. So, but the team is actually set to kick off their 2025 season at the Dirt Car Nationals with the World of Outlaws at Volusia, and the journey will continue from there until we hear anything else. That's all we know for now. So, it's going to be a wild ride. But I'm going to tell you what, that rivalry between Gravel and Macedo, I think that's going to be fun to watch. I can't wait to see that all unfold, man. I hope we get some good entertainment out of that. And I hope that
so
it's
too.
clean.
Yes,
I don't
that also.
like the dirt. I don't like the dirty stuff.
I mean, it is on dirt, so we have to have a little bit of dirt.
Oh,
we can't have dirty driving.
About.
I know.
But to me, there's nothing like watching a good hard battle of guys going back and forth, and it coming down to the checkered flag to see who's going to edge out the other one, rather than a good hard smashing into each other and taking each other out.
Yeah.
And ruining someone's crap and potentially getting hurt. That's not entertainment.
That's uncalled for, yeah.
But anyway, with that, I'll let you take it away, buddy.
Well, I have one more dirt update that I don't know if you had in your list. Lernerville has released their schedule for the 2025 season, and along with the famous Fab 4 Racing, where they run the famous 4 weekly series, they have included they're calling it the Dirt TV 3 Wide Sunday. They will have Sunday races going on starting in 2025 that will include the 410 sprints, the big block modifieds, and the 305 sprints on, it looks like, select Sundays. They have April 27th, May 4th, uh, looks like June 8th. They have July 6th, August 3rd, and that appears to be their Sunday races for the year. But it's kind of odd for me to see Lernerville running Sunday races because I've never seen them do that before. With the addition of the Hillbilly 100 from the Lucas Tour, that's kind of a odd change for me. Is obviously we have Firecracker weekend, or we have Firecracker Fest with, Tuesday to Saturday of stuff going on at the track. And then we have obviously all the high limits races, but it's definitely odd for me to see, them adding Sunday races along with a late model race at the very end of August, which is kind of a new twist, I guess, in my opinion. That's definitely new.
That's like a home track to you.
They have 4 big races in a row on the schedule. They have August 29th and 30th will be the Lucas Tour, and September 12th and 13th will be the high limit races, and there's no races in between there. So that is going to be a big stretch of pretty high profile racing. And I mean, there's only so many races after that. I think they have the bus races, and then they go right into the Steel City Stampede in August, which is all the racing divisions in PA and local area, which is kind of nice. When it comes to NASCAR, I'm still salty over the fact that they had to ruin a perfectly good race with that shenanigans. But I have seen this week, and this was echoed throughout Joey Logano, that if drivers manipulated the outcome of the championship weekend race, NASCAR would suspend them for the 2025 Daytona 500, which is a massive, massive penalty if you have that, which, quite honestly, I don't know. I kind of feel like if anybody was going to manipulate it, it would have been 23XI and Front Row, because they have nothing to lose. It's not like they're going to get into the race anyway.
Yeah, I saw that.
With them having to potentially run on without charters, it's not like they had anything to lose. I was kind of waiting to see what happened if they were going to manipulate the system or not. Thank goodness they didn't. Definitely an odd race. I was kind of surprised with how the race went. Obviously in the end, Joey Logano won the championship, but we had some oddball, you don't see that everyday moments. We'll start off with the pace car diving onto pit road and missing pit road. Yeah, I remember sending you a text thinking my eyes were deceiving me because you don't see that every day.
Even though you were sitting right next to me.
I was sitting there watching it thinking, there's no way that just happened. I mean, I want to know where he was going. From the TV angle, I thought that he hit Chase Elliott. No, he just completely misjudged where the car was going. That was my funny for the week. I don't think that, again, I said the same thing about the 2020 or 2013, Sprint Unlimited, where the pace car caught on fire. You don't see that every day. And then we got him crashing on pit road. Now I think I've seen it all until the next incident happens. But
I mean, we've seen a jet dryer get hit by a NASCAR.
We had the jet dryer get hit. We had the pace car catch on fire during the Sprint Unlimited, back when that was a thing. They had the pace car break down. What was it, last year or 2 years ago at Martinsville?
Yeah, didn't one of the drivers push it off?
Well, I think that was 2022. NASCAR didn't throw the caution, and Kyle Busch decided he was just going to punt the pace car, which, to be fair, that's been done before by Tony Stewart, but under, goofing around. Like, there's been some wild pace car moments. I remember way back in the day, there was a clip of somebody stole the pace car at Talladega, which
he just kept driving around in circles.
I'm not sure I would put that one past Talladega with the amount of drunk partying that goes on at Talladega that I've seen. I've never been there, but just from what I can see on television, that one doesn't escape the realm of normal, I guess, because that seems pretty normal that something like that would happen. But yeah, that one was on my bingo card for the NASCAR season. I will say that that was definitely one of the more odd things. I mean, I guess NASCAR has to have one each year. That
I
it
think a couple of guys actually said on a podcast that they thought Kyle Larson was driving the pace car.
I wanted to know where he was going. I still have yet to figure out why he thought he was going to make that angle. He was next to the pit wall when he turned, so I don't know how he thought he was going to make it. But then again, I've never driven that Toyota pace car. I hopefully never will, because then I won't get laughed at the way he did. It was a pretty massive dent on that right rear quarter panel. I won't lie. He clobbered him.
That was
But
insane.
it did come down to teammates battling each other at Phoenix, which honestly I wasn't sure. I was surprised by that. I still think William Byron finished third on the race and in the point series.
I
Uh,
think so. Yeah.
I want to step back to the Xfinity Championship. None of us really got to see it if we didn't have CW, but based on the way that race went, I am ecstatic for Justin Allgaier. He has been in the sport for so long and finally got his Xfinity Series championship. I was kind of surprised that it came at the cost that it did, because he kind of said, this is my championship, and ended up putting Riley Herbst in the outside wall, who ended up winning the race in the end. But I think it was more or less because Allgaier didn't want to get taken out coming to the checkered flag, because Herbst was there. We all had to watch from the onboard camera, but still, congrats to Allgaier on winning the championship, and congrats to Riley Herbst for at least somewhat sending Stewart Haas off to the sunset. That was probably the highlight of Stewart Haas weekend. There was a bit of drama for the last race for Stewart Haas in the Cup Series. Supposedly, they were all going to do a group burnout on the backstretch. And the 41 decided he was going to forego the team burnout and decided to pull into pit road while everybody else was on track. So that's...
You blame him?
I don't know if I blame him. At the same time, the amount of shade that was thrown over the radio was a bit concerning. Is if they're all a team, it is a bit concerning that they just,
Well, I'll tell you what.
there was a lot of drama, but it was still very...
The way that
I don't know how I felt.
The entire team shunned him from meetings and stuff like that. You know what? I kind of can't blame the guy.
I can't blame him either, but at the same time, I do feel like there was a lot of... Yeah.
And
I feel like there was a lot of animosity.
I would have been cool and got with the guys after we got out of the cars and, did a final team photo for the owners and all that good stuff. Fulfill my obligations that way. But
yeah, I mean, I don't blame them. At the same time, the whole group, based on the radio conversation, I feel like maybe it was best that we didn't have that, because there was a lot of animosity. I really don't feel like they would have got along. I feel like it would have been very evident when they got out of the car. I'm kind of glad it's over for them. At the same time, it is kind of sad to see the way that it went. I guess it's just a prime example of how messed up the team was.
I mean, all in all, it wasn't that exciting of a race, to be honest with you.
I was kind of disappointed. I'm really hoping they change the races in the future. I would like to address some of the playoff, we're going to call it playoff suggestions.
I think the best one was Dale Jr.'s.
I like Dale Jr.'s. I did see one, I think it was from Steve Letarte, I think it was, where they had talked about, it was, you have a 3-race winner take all at the end, or not, each series, or not each race, each track gets their thing. I know Eric Estep from Switching Grooves posted his, and I like
He's
his.
not from Switching Grooves.
No, not from Switching Grooves. From
He's from Out of the Groove.
Out of the Groove. I said it wrong. My fault.
Caught you there.
I did like his uh the way he presented his. I did like his. The one Steve Letarte posted, I liked also, and I have to go back and
Yeah.
see if I can
I
find
think
it.
wasn't he on Denny Hamlin's podcast?
He was on Denny Hamlin's or podcast, Action Detrimental, and I did like. I almost like
I
his a
think he
little
said
better
what
than Eric's.
just he just said do away with the points. You win and you're in. Like
Yes, which at that point you're going to have to race your way on. I don't like the win and you're in. At the same time, if you don't win a race, you're not in the playoffs. Which, to be fair,
that's
that's
pretty much
not a
how it
bad way
is.
to go about it. Well, I mean, at the same time, if we don't get 16 winners, there's only, however many people win a race are going to a championship. So say Kyle Larson goes out and sets a new record with 14 wins. There's only going to be so many drivers that can get in at that point. You're going to be pushing your hardest to win the race each week. I do kind of like that proposed way of running the playoffs. At the same time, I do like the one that Eric proposed with you got the 16 drivers. There's no win and you're in. You're obviously, if you're in the top 16 in consistency, you're in. When it comes to seeding wise, obviously you've got the first race is going to be the first race of the playoffs. Run that as a wild card race. I actually like that where it shakes up the seedings prior to, actually getting into the races. And then you do, 3 races, and then a 3-race championship round. Essentially,
Yeah.
it flips the current playoff format. And I'm not going to lie, I feel like that could help. Not the greatest, but it's something compared to a winner take all championship. I'm not a fan of it where you have to perform good at one race to win the championship. Somebody could literally move on by winning one race each round and they'd be terrible the rest of the round. I'm not a fan of that. If you can get in and not win a race, you drove like crap all year. I don't think you should be able to just win the championship because you did the bare minimum. You've got to be consistent all year, and I've preached this for as long as I can remember about this, is if you win one race like Harrison Burton and you're in the playoffs, but you've run 35th every other week, that's the only way some drivers are going to get in is by, winning at Talladega or Daytona. The more consistent teams the rest of the year are going to win all the other races. It kind of takes the emphasis off giving 100%.
Like
with
Junior
Corey
said,
LaJoy, if he never wins a race, obviously he's never going to make it in. He can't point in high enough, but it pushes teams to push harder and harder to get this thing. If they're only making X amount a year because they're not, going to try to compete, then what's the point of racing? I mean, there was rumor that Rick Ware Racing is going to shut down. Honestly, I wouldn't be opposed to it because they're back markers every week. Sell it off to a team that might be able to run it.
There's also been reports of RFK making an announcement soon, isn't there?
There's supposed to be a few of them. I heard something about that there may be a Kroger announcement this coming week, which would be interesting. That might be the Priest ride. We haven't confirmed that. But there's talks from Bob Pockrass about potentially, I forget the guy's name, the guy that they were reported on earlier in the year with Kroger is supposed to be present for this meeting. Whether that's they're joining forces with Kroger for next year or they're bringing Ryan Priest or somebody else in, and that's their primary sponsor for next year, we don't know yet. But it's still still kind of up in the air. We're all going to wait and see. I am kind of curious to see if when they slipped up with the tire test, if that's what it's going to be. I am kind of curious if that's going to be proven true, or if that was just just because he was in town and able to stay after.
Well, wasn't it also announced that FedEx is officially leaving JGR?
Yeah, after what is it, 18 years and 0 championships, and I'm going to bring that up to the day, is I
I think it's
really don't
nine. I think
care.
it's 19 years.
Well, no, he's 0-18. This would have been the 18th championship, 18th season racing, because he started in 2006.
I thought it was in 05. I could be wrong.
No, I'm pretty sure it was 06 was his first full time season.
Okay.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was 2006 because
I
I
think he
thought
did like a few races
I think
the year
Leffler
before he
ran
went full
the
time.
Leffler or somebody else
It was
ran the
Leffler.
11 car. Leffler ran the 11 car in 2015, or not 15, 05. So that's the only reason, because I remember looking that up. So I love the fact that he didn't win the championship. It is kind of sad to see a longtime sponsor like that go.
Well, they have been with JGR longer than Denny Hamlin though, because
Yes,
I
with
remember what was it?
Leffler.
Bobby
Bobby
what was
Labonte
it?
was Interstate Battery.
Terry, I think he had a FedEx car. He got edged out by Jimmy Johnson at that race. They showed a picture of it online. I just saw that today.
Bobby Labonte drove in, I think it was the 2005 Coke 600. Might have been 2006 for some reason. I do remember.
Coming to the line,
that.
he got beat by Terry Labonte, or not Terry
Bobby Labonte. I do remember
Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah, Jimmy Johnson beat Bobby Labonte to the line in the FedEx paint scheme. I remember that.
And that was the 18 car.
Yes,
that wasn't the 11 car.
I don't remember. I feel like that was 2005.
Yeah,
that's might have been 2006. Because it's not the same paint scheme they always ran, but that does make sense that it would be that. I'm not sure how long FedEx has been with JGR. It might have been 2005, but definitely sad to see FedEx go, because it's we no longer have UPS, so that's gone. FedEx is now gone. All the original sponsors from the early 2000s have slowly but surely pulled out. We don't really have Home Depot anymore. That's more DeWalt on JGR, which is kind of unfortunate. I mean, they're still there, but not in the extent that they were before.
They don't have the presence that they used to.
Yes, they're long gone. Obviously, Lowe's is no longer there.
About
the only one that I can kind
of is Anheuser-Busch, because they just switched from Budweiser to Busch.
And that's not entirely true. Is technically speaking, Axalta is still a form of DuPont. They're just a different
Axalta actually bought out DuPont. I know that for being
so technically they are still in the sport, which is kind of cool to see. But all the big name sponsors from the heyday of NASCAR have pulled out. Like you said, Budweiser and Anheuser-Busch, they're somewhat in the sport still with Ross Chastain.
They just flip brands is all.
Yeah, there's a lot of sponsors that have pulled out altogether. FedEx was kind of a shock to me that they pulled out. At the same time, I'm not going to say that it didn't have anything to do with these championships getting choked on every year. That's just my 2 cents.
It's a lot to do with they actually went under new management, from what I understand, and they tried to cut over $4 billion worth of debt. So,
yeah,
I mean, a NASCAR program is going to be one of the biggest ones. So,
I will say one of the bigger stories this week that I've noticed is missing, but also there's actually a few of them that I'm noticing are missing. Is, remember earlier in the season we reported about JGR's notes being stolen? I want to bring that to light, as I haven't heard much of that lately. I'm wondering if there's something that'll go on this off season, but I haven't. That's kind of odd to me that nothing's been noticed. Also, Parker Retzloff decided he was not going to return to Jordan Anderson Racing, which is kind of an odd story. and I feel like it stems back to the cutoff race for the playoffs with Harrison Burton won. It's actually not the cutoff; it was the second to last race. If you guys remember correctly, Harrison Burton ended up winning the race because Parker Retzloff pushed him past Kyle Busch, who happens to be a Team Chevy teammate, more or less. So there was a big controversy over Retzloff did not push the Chevy driver to the win. And there's rumor that because of that, Parker Retzloff is out of a ride. I am very, very surprised by him not returning. If it does come around that it was because of that incident, um, you know, I feel very sorry for him and very ashamed of Chevy being in the NASCAR because supposedly he disobeyed team orders when Kyle Busch admitted that he's not in, not in those. He's not a full time driver. He wouldn't even have known. I do feel like that is a very bad look for Chevy. At the same time, it's along the same lines of, a bad look for RCR when they, had their two best drivers fighting at Martinsville going for the win when there was no communication. I do feel like there is a bit of a communication gap, and I feel like that could have played a role in that.
Along with all the bullcrap manipulation at Martinsville too, holding people back
Yes.
to.
Yeah, that was another one. I will like to add that NASCAR with the with Caterpillar lost. That is a good one, Chuck. I totally forgot about them. I would like to note that, and I don't know if it was an intentional shade or if it was on Joey Logano's part or who exactly came up with this, but there is a photo floating around on the internet of Joey Logano after he won the championship, floating around with Monopoly money. Just earlier that week, NASCAR said that with their lawsuit going on, that they're the antitrust lawsuit basically trying to monopolize everything, and Joey Logano going out with Monopoly money. I don't know if that's in great taste, but it's not in great taste, but it was definitely entertaining. And then we got America's crew chief and Denny Hacklin beefing it out over social media. It's been a very eventful off season, and we've only been in the off season for what, 5 days now? Not even a week. Like, it's insane to me that we just crowned a championship, and silly season has already gotten silly dramatic, I guess we'll call it.
Now, Denny and Mick Reynolds have been kind of at odds for a few months.
A while. Now. It is awful entertaining that's the way it came to is, him and Mick Reynolds were going at it, and then NASCAR just happens to chime in with the Monopoly post. I feel like that was a good day to go after Denny Hamlin, and it was on everybody's calendar but the fans, because they picked a really good day to all pile it on Denny Hamlin, and I absolutely loved it because it was hilarious to me. Don't you? Everybody who watches this show knows that I am not a Denny Hamlin fan. I'm not a Kyle Larson fan, but I'm even more not a Denny Hamlin fan. So I applaud NASCAR and Mick Reynolds for going after him the way they did, because somebody's got to put him in his place. Somebody's got to, because he's got too much of opinion for not enough stats.
You don't have enough. You don't have enough to back it up.
He can talk the talk. The problem is that he cannot back it up because he's got nothing to show for it. He's got 3 Daytona 500s. I'm sorry, but a Daytona 500 is a crown jewel event that really anybody can win because it's technically just another wild card race. Yes, the tradition is there, but at the same time, and this is me who's been to the Daytona 500 as a fan and would love to someday, dreaming wise, win that thing. At the same time, I know that starting the season at the Daytona 500, anybody has a chance because it's a wild card race. It's no different than going to Daytona in the fall or going to the two Talladega races. If you're in the draft, you have a shot at winning the race. So, blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while.
Yeah,
Denny Hamlin has won 3 wild card races.
You avoid the big one, you'll be
big
in.
Deal, yeah. Yeah, you avoid the big one, you're in. So more or less hanging out back and watching everybody else wreck to eliminate the cars, to win the first race of the year. It's not like it's difficult to, I guess win 3 Daytona 500s when you have the same strategy every year. You hang out back, but once everybody wrecks out in the final restart, you get back in. But it's definitely interesting. So
I don't know. What do you think? You got everything you had?
I'm trying to make sure I got everything. I think I got all my 2 cents in. Definitely excited to see how the new season starts. I know I'm excited for Bowman Gray. I know you and I are going to plan to do an episode from North Carolina prior to Bowman Gray. If not, we might even do one from the car if we have to. I'm just kind of excited. I'm still trying to plan out my sign because every year I've heckled Denny Hamlin about not winning the championship, and this year I get to do it a race early at the Clash. So I'm getting excited. I'm trying to plan out my sign for him. Also, in regards to Bowman Gray, there's been a report that they're putting up safer barriers and catch fences. So, yes, it puts us a little bit further away from the track, but I do applaud them for, stepping up the safety measures and making it,
That's in their rule book, so they got to follow their rules. Excuse me.
Which is shocking that they're actually going to follow their own rule book. Funny how that works.
Yeah. Excuse me about that. I'm sorry about that.
So hopefully this race goes good. I know the racing surface is not exactly the biggest surface. No, I'm kind of hoping they only put them on the outside. I only want the safer barriers on the outside of the track. We don't need no safer barriers to the inside wall. Give them the infield. Let them do burnouts in the infield. When they want to beat each other up, you put the boxing ring in the middle and you have them have at it.
I think the safer barriers are if there's happens to be concrete walls around there, but since it's grass in the middle, I don't think they'll do anything with it. I could be wrong.
I still want the safe barriers on the outside of the track. Forget about putting anything in the infield. If you guys are going to run each other over, do it right in the middle. That's where you're going to do it. I mean, these drivers like to hash it out during the Clash. We saw it, was it this year or last year, when Ricky Stenhouse went after somebody in the pits after his heat race?
It was Kyle Busch, wasn't it?
No, he went back and I thought Ricky Stenhouse got in somebody's window post-race. I forget who it was, but
about how he waited at the trailer.
Oh no, it was not at North Wilkesboro. It was at the Clash at the Coliseum. Oh, honestly, I hope they don't put anything in the infield at Bowman Gray. Let them do it back in the pit area. But if you guys are gonna, have your issues, do it just like Bowman Gray. In the spirit of Bowman Gray, hash it out right in the infield. You guys want to fight? Put 2 designated parking spots right in the infield. You guys are going to fight it out? I'll see you there. It's going to be an electric atmosphere, and I'm so excited.
In the sport.
Hey, if you're going to fight it out, do it in front of the fans. Do it just like the Chili Bowl. If you're going to fight it out right in the middle so everybody sees it. Don't take it back in the pit area. Mano a mano right in the infield. I think that's great. I mean, there was reports that Kyle Busch is going to run the Chili Bowl after years of him not running, not saying he'd never run it. I hope he does good. At the same time, if you guys are going to get rowdy, do it right there in the infield. I say they absolutely beat the stuffing out of each other. Because every year we wait for it to happen is, drivers going to make another one mad and they're going to fight in the infield. And they always do it in the pit area. If you're going to do it, get out of your cars and ding, ding. Here we go. I'm waiting for the day that somebody actually takes, will track up on that. It's if you're both pissed off enough, go for it. And I
I've seen
think
it a
Bowman
couple
Gray
times.
is going to put it over the top, and I'm waiting for it to actually happen. Like, I feel like this is going to be, unfortunately, the boys have at it has kind of, deteriorated, and people, they're not letting people do it. I'm hoping this is going to be their last, boys have at it. If you're going to beat this pulp out of each other, do it here because you're not going to do it the rest of the season. Because obviously, a little bit of contact on track has gotten out of hand. So I want them to have the boys have at it. And then if they're going to get rid of it, get rid of it. If you're going to let them have at it all season, then just make it that much more fun at Bowman Gray. But, I have my opinions on it. I would love to see if there's going to be a fight, you do it in front of the fans where you make the fans get electric over it. But don't take it back to the pit area where more people are going to get hurt. If you guys are going to beat the crap out of each other, I say they put up little fence in the infield and let them beat the pulp out of each other right there, wrestle it out right there for the fans. I'm excited about this. I know how Bowman Gray can get, and I'm just waiting to see how it gets with all these NASCAR fans. I haven't looked lately to see how many seats are left, but there was only 17 left, last time I checked. So the whole stadium with only 17 seats remaining has got me excited. This is going to be an all-out party in February.
So, well, with that, I'm going to actually cut you off on NASCAR and just give a brief mention to the race coming up tomorrow locally for the kart racers, the Colossal at Tribute Speedway here in Fremont, Ohio. Everything kicks off tomorrow at around 10 o'clock. So come on out, have some fun. I don't know if we'll see you there at all, Nathan, but
We'll have to talk about that a little more. I got to see what's going on.
But other than that, I think we're going to call it a show for the night.
I will add in that if there's any drivers or crews that need somebody for like a mechanics race or something, have them let me know, and I will be in the car tomorrow morning to come help. But I would love to. I got to see what's going on. But if there's a ride available, I'll happily fill in or even do the mechanics race or whatever. But hopefully we'll be there. But just a shout out to anybody who's looking for a driver. I'll volunteer. I don't know if anybody will actually tune in, but you never know.
I'll be on the stand, so I won't be able to fill in any rides. But
I'll fill in. I'll be a celebrity driver.
I don't really want to. So, but before we sign off, if you like our content and you want to see more of it, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and like and follow us on Facebook, and you won't miss a thing. So, Nathan, what do you think?
I think it's time to wrap it up for the night. You got a big day tomorrow.
Yep, got to get some rest.
Yep. All right. Well, with Switching Grooves, I'm Nathan Johns.
And I'm Russ Fritz saying race hard.
Stay safe.
And we'll see you there. Good night.
Good night, everybody.